All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Builders Call. It is the first and third Tuesdays of the month, and since sometimes I have a hard time keeping track of what day it is, and this is the third Tuesday of the month. So great to see so many faces on here. I know some people will catch us on the recording. We'll make sure and put it up on our YouTube channel at the end. I'm super excited for today's call. These calls originally started as a place for collaboration and sharing best practices for people that wanted to grow and build people within the context of EXP organizations. And so, whether you are brand new to EXP and have no one in your organization yet, or you have hundreds of agents or thousands of agents, in my experience, being in conversations like these, I always walk away from something and learn something that I can use immediately to be better. And so, when I think about calls like this, I think about the context of being in a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. And the way that I help myself stay in growth mindsets is to be in conversations in rooms with people that are collaborating and sharing, and they're out there actually doing the things that we do. And so I am super excited to have one of the most incredible and influential leaders in our organization on the call today. I saw his name for a long time on roster sheets before I ever got to spend one-on-one time with him because he's one of those guys that has a vision and he's a leader of self. And so he always had his own stuff organized. And so quite often, he's like he was already dialed in and running and on his own track. And so there was not a lot of opportunities for us to cross over. And then at larger events, we came together and ended up in some of the same rooms, like around EXP Con, and it was shareholders event and some of the build things. And what I have to say about him is people that know him the best have used three words to describe him: out of the box. As it relates to thinking and strategies. And that's one of the things that I love about him. And there's another word that people use in relation to him, and it is obsessed. And obsessed with things that are healthy obsessions, right? Because obsessions can go either way. But really about client experiences and helping people optimize their results. And so he's from San Diego. And when his focus was production, he and his team did over 40 million consistently. He's been in the industry since 2004 and has essentially worked and operated in every single role within a brokerage. He's a national sales trainer and speaker. He's been at the NAR annual conference, Inman, and other events. I'm super grateful to call him my friend because I learned so much from him and he's constantly pushing the envelope. And for me, I value that. So, Jesse Zagorski, welcome to the call this morning. So excited to have you here.
Casey. Can I tell you guys, by the way, if you'd like to learn anything from Casey, I mean, you could learn everything from Casey, but if you want to learn anything from Casey, if you could learn to give introductions, which is, by the way, a version of edification. Casey, you are so good at introductions. So spoiler alert, I gave Casey a little bio, but it didn't sound like she was reading a bio, did that? Like she like internalized it, made it her own, like presented it in a way that Casey, you were so good at that. Like that was like a masterclass. I just took notes. I'm like, oh, I see how to do that. That's really good.
Gotta keep it interesting.
Yeah.
Gotta keep it
No,
interesting.
I like it. I like it. Because bios are usually people things say about themselves, and you made it feel very authentic. I like it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, the context of this call is around building, and
Yeah.
you are the founder of the Agent Collective, which has close to 2,000 agents in it within your 8 year span of being here, 42 states and multiple countries. And that is nothing to shake a stick at. Success leaves clues. So what I'd love to do for the purpose of this call, if we can start the conversation, because I even find for myself when I look at people that have created something that I have not yet created, even if we're on a parallel path and I'm just at a different point in the timeline on it, sometimes it can be really challenging to relate to. Like, how do I go from where I am to where they're at, if that's where I want to go? And then that happens for sure for people on day one that haven't built organizations and are like, okay, what has to happen over the course of the next 8 years to create an organization of 2,000 agents? Or what if I wanted to do it faster? Or what if I took 15? Like, there's all of these things that go through our minds. when we're looking and don't know, and then it's impossible to know till you're in it and doing it. So what I would love to know, just to start this off, because I think it's a starting point of every conversation, is you were previously somewhere before EXP, and I find that it helps to discover what people are thinking in relation to what actually captures their attention, then what has them engage or being willing to engage in the conversation around something different when it comes to a brokerage or an opportunity change. And so let's go back to before you knew about EXP. Tell me about your career, your life, what was happening, and then what was that intersection where the door opened, or maybe the door you refused to open it. Could
Right.
be, maybe. I don't know, not to put words in your mouth. Let's start
Yes.
there.
All right. So we'll start there. And I'm going to tell these stories as best as I can in a way that some of you have never heard before, because some of you know me really well and I don't want to bore you. Some of you are new. Like I know some of you I know outside of, because like, a lot of you from my organization, right? I'm grateful that you're here, but I want to tell you stories that you might not have heard. I got a lot of stories. So the question, make sure I'm starting in the right place, Casey. You want to know what my life looked like before EXP, and what was the second part of that question?
Your life and your business, and then you went from that to making that move.
Yeah.
So what was the progression? If we go back to your story of where you were
Yeah.
at, what had that door open and what had you walk through it?
Yeah. So 20, I'm right now sitting at 20. Got in real estate in 2004. So what am I, like 22 years in real estate? So that means I joined EXP, whatever, 8 years, about 16 years into my career. I was in the career for 16 years, joined EXP. And what was happening before, most of you who know me have heard me tell this part of the story. I had left the country in 2013 and 2014. Right. And I say this, and you've heard me say this all the time, but I say it so fast that you probably glance over it. Like, I want you to really imagine what my life felt like. I had this big producing team in the early 2010s. I was selling REOs. I was selling hundreds of homes a year. I had a bunch of agents on my team. And then REOs started slowing down. Those are foreclosures. They started going away. And my wife, who's a therapist, she had graduated grad school and she was working for a couple of years, and was hitting this like next level of her license for therapy. And so she was like complete with that. And we said, hey, before we start a family, let's go have an adventure. So we moved to Thailand. And I spent a year and a half, you might have heard me say this, I spent a year and a half before I left for Thailand putting systems in place so that my business would run without me being there. But the key to my success, I really believe in hindsight, was I was unattached to the outcome. Like, I was going to Thailand either way. And if the business crashed and burned and I made zero money, Thailand's super cheap. It really didn't matter. Okay. It just so happened that the things I put in place did work. And so I went an entire year without carrying a cell phone, right? If you have your cell phone near you, right? Anyone have their cell phone near them? It's like a scary thing to do on a Zoom. Okay. Hold your cell phone up. I want you to hold it up. You don't need to go get it if you don't have it, but hold it up. And now picture not having this for 12 months. Okay. Now put it down away somewhere. I like Kim's dropped over her back. Okay. Put it down away. Okay. Amber just made this gesture. Okay. It was probably the most freedom I have felt since I was a kid. Like, truly. I did have a cell phone, by the way. I went out and bought a little, it wasn't even a flip phone. It was like a brick phone with like the T9 texting. Cause so that way my wife was the only one with the number. Like I couldn't, no one could reach me. Like I was off the grid, and I worked an hour or two a week. My team still sold houses in San Diego. I lived in Thailand for a year. We traveled all over Southeast Asia. Like, the reason why I know you've heard this, but I want you to really envision what this was like, because this is the mindset I was returning to the US to in 2014. Thailand is still to this day one of the cheapest places with the highest qualities of living you can find on the planet. Right? Have any of you ever been to a really cheap place with a high quality of living? Anyone ever been to one of those places? Where have you guys been? Right, tell me where you guys have been.
South Africa.
South Africa. Okay, that's a cheap place with a high quality of living. Love it. Where else?
I've been to Spain and Italy. I'm not so sure they were really cheap. They were back in 99, not so cheap now.
Ah, okay. So when you were there, depending on the exchange rate, depending on the euro and the lira and all that time period you're there, Italy has had some very cheap phases. Okay, so when you were there in 99, it was very cheap, and I've lived in Italy twice. I can tell you, incredible quality of living. They have a good life in Italy. They know it's important. At
Yes,
least the
good
lines with I
food.
think is important. So
I
uh,
learned there, they said people over there work to live. Here we live to work.
yeah, it's a very different mindset. Where else have you guys been? That was a low cost of living, high quality of life. Anyone else? Where would you like to go? If not, I'll move on to the second case.
Croatia.
Croatia. Still, I haven't been there in 20 years, but I've heard it's still pretty cheap and incredible. Beautiful. Nice people. Anyone else got any place you want to go? Marguerite says the Philippines. Clara says Ecuador and Thailand. All right. So by the way, this isn't about travel. Those of you who are like, I don't want to travel. I love where I live in the States or Canada, wherever you are and you want to stay there. Here's the reason why I'm framing this up this way. Because for me in Thailand, my cost of living for me and my wife was about $1,500 a month all in. Okay? All in. And that's, we lived in a beautiful apartment with a view of the mountains, very modern, 10th floor of the building. We ate every meal out. We had 2-hour massages 5 days a week. Like an incredible life for $1,500 a month. It's not just because it was years ago. It's just because Thailand's really cheap. Okay? So this is what I experienced. And most people have never felt that sense of financial freedom since they were like kids. When was the last time any of you didn't worry about money at some level? Like it wasn't on your mind. How old were you? 7? 6? I'm serious. I know you don't walk around worrying all the time. I'm saying, but like at some low level, don't we all have in the back of our mind this like need to make money? So I came back from Thailand after a year of being entirely free, and I went searching for something that would allow me to have that same lifestyle, but in San Diego, which is probably 10 times as expensive as Thailand. That was my frame of reference. That was my mindset. And I first started off with growing my sales team back up, Casey. I thought that was the leverage I needed. So I grew my team up to 21 agents, and it really, really was not freedom, not fun. Casey, you ran a team or still run a team. Does the team still exist, or are we? What's going on with the team these days?
Team of one.
Team of one. Okay, you ran a team for a while. How much freedom did you find in running that team, even with some staff and admin leverage? How much freedom did you find in that?
There's one word, and it's consuming. It would be the opposite of freedom.
Marguerite, I know you've run a team. Amber, you've run a team. How many of you have run? Dan runs a team. How many of you have run sales teams now or at some point in your career? Okay, a few of you. I'm telling you this because a lot of people you might want to recruit are like me, right? And I'll show you in a minute how this ties together, because all of my friends happen to be team leaders and entrepreneurs and leverage-oriented thinkers, and there's nothing wrong with running a team. We have a lot of great organizations at EXP and a lot of people who still run teams and enjoy them. For people like me and Casey, and probably a lot of you, I would never run a team again if my life depended on it. High expenses, high human capital, high turnover. God, even the turnover wasn't that bad at some phases of my team. It's just, it was not as much leverage as I thought. So someone turned me on to EXP and I didn't even look at it for 9 months. Like literally for 9 months, I was like, no, too busy with my team, got a baby, not interested. When I finally looked at it, it took about 7 minutes and I was like, oh, this is cool, I'm in.
So why was it no for 9 months?
I was too busy. Like I didn't even look at it, and I didn't trust the people sending it to me. It was a combination of both. The people sending to me didn't have credibility. They had bounced around to various projects and ideas. I knew them from the world of bank-owned homes and REO. So when REO ended, we all like scattered to the wind. Like picture you have this like, what's your best lead source in real estate right now? Anyone who sells houses, what's your best lead source? Anyone got a good lead source? Sphere of influence. You guys, no one's going to talk to me today. That's fine. All right. Sphere of influence. Let's say you and all your friends work sphere of influence. That's all you work. Okay. And suddenly you are forced to move to a brand new town where you know nobody there. Your sphere is gone. And all of your friends, for whatever reason, are also forced to move to a brand new town that no one has a sphere anymore. They're all going to scatter to the wind. They're going to scatter to the wind. And they're all trying to figure out how to reinvent themselves. So we all did different things. I moved to Thailand before I figured out how to reinvent myself. Some of my friends, they tried like 6 different things. So Casey, they brought me this EXP thing, and they said the classic EXP recruiting lines circa 2018, 2019. Hey, watch this video. Hey, watch this video. And they didn't sit down and watch it with me. I probably would have been at EXP 9 months earlier if I actually watched the video, because they sent me 20-minute videos and 40-minute videos. Like I still remember this one of Gene Frederick they sent me. That wasn't the 3 napkins one. It was like Gene Frederick in a room talking about like Blockbuster. And anyway, I made it like 4 minutes into it. Every time I shut it off, I'm like, this is stupid. Every time. Casey, when you got exposed to this, did someone have you watch a video and did they watch it with you? What did they do?
It was Brent, and yes, he sat at our dining room table and watched it.
Do you think there's a chance you might have shut it off if he wasn't sitting at your table?
I would not have got past minute three, more
Okay.
than likely.
So I'm not telling you right now in 2026. I had to look at I had to look at my upper right on my monitor to see the year it was. By the way, it's not even written up there the year, but I'm like, I don't even know what year it is anymore. Anyway, 2026. I would not tell you that like you have to go watch the video. That's not the learning lesson here. However, if you're gonna have someone watch something and it's really important that they watch it, you might want to consider watching it with them. Okay. I wasn't, it took me 9 extra months to get here. Brent Gove went and sat at the table with Casey and Rick. Like,
Funny story, Jesse.
yeah.
When I got recruited into the direct sales company that I was with, it started in 2007. Someone a year before had attempted to recruit me for 9 months and they just kept calling over and over and over and over and over again. And so they wanted to watch the video with me. And so they scheduled to do that so that I would watch it. I turned my video off, looked how long the video was, went downstairs, had lunch, did some laundry, came back when the video was over, and then it was a third-party validation call. And they wanted to know what questions I had, and I said none, and what was most interesting to me, and I said not really anything. And they said, "Do you want me to take you off of our list?" And I said, "Yes, please take me off your list." And it was 9 months later, my ex-husband recruited me because he was tenacious. And anyways, but to your point about sending videos for people to watch and even sometimes doing it with them. If they're not video, you got to be able to see people. We're slippery people.
But the person where you shut your video off and went downstairs, how well did you know that person?
Didn't they saw me speak at a leadership event and
Okay.
decided I was going to be great for their business.
Didn't, right? And you could feel that energy energetically that you felt like they thought you'd be good for their business, correct? My guess is if you generally had any sort of relationship, and it doesn't take months and years to build that relationship, but if you could feel the energy that they actually believed it was going to be good for you and they wanted you to be educated and to understand what the opportunity was, it probably would have gone a little different.
For sure.
Especially that last question they asked you, do you want me to take you off your list? That sounds like a throw it against the wall, see what sticks sort of mentality.
Oh my God. I don't want to be on someone's list. You might
No,
be on my list,
no.
but I'm not going to be on yours.
So I don't know if you ever, I don't know if you ever use this expression, Casey, but I've heard this expression from network marketing a bunch of times, and I actually love this expression. But taken to the wrong direction, you end up with that throw it against the wall and see what sticks. So the expression is amateurs convince, professionals sift and sort. Amateurs convince, professionals sift and sort. Rob Flick says, we're looking for the people, we're looking for us. Casey, I'm sure you have a version of that. What's your version of that statement?
My version is we're looking for the people that are looking for us and don't know it until we sit down and have a meaningful conversation about what's important to them.
There you go. Okay. So take that expression to the wrong end of the spectrum and you get the experience Casey had where someone's like, put on the video. I don't care if it is off. I'm just going to play it for as many people as possible. Sit down. I've been taught to play with them at the end. You want to, like, that's the wrong end of sifting and sorting where it's just a numbers game. The real sifting and sorting is taking the time to understand what's important to someone and seeing if we have something that's going to help, that's going to add value to them. And then when it is, if their gates are open, that's the sifting and sorting we're looking for. And we can talk a little more about that. But does that bring you back to the beginning of how I ended up at EXP? So when I finally sat down, I didn't watch the video, by the way. When I finally sat down and had a real conversation with someone at EXP, like I did a little research on my own. Instead of them like pushing it down my throat, they did a little bit of a pull. And so I started getting curious and I saw one of my friends come over to EXP who actually is my sponsor, Brent Conley. How many of you guys know Brent Conley? So there were two people who had joined before Brent who were in my sphere who I liked them, but they didn't have as much credibility. And when Brent Conley joined, he was this guy that in our circle, Brent had always just been this highly respected business strategist who had built a 400-person brokerage. And he was that guy that, just someone in your world that everyone's like, oh, I respect him. Like if he's making this decision, it must be legitimate. Whereas you have other people in your world, if they do it, you're like, I don't know if they're doing, I probably shouldn't do that. Right. I guess if friends like, maybe only I have friends like that, but I'm like, if they're doing this, I probably should do the opposite. But if Brent did, I'm like, okay, now I'm curious. So I went out and started looking, and I had a guy who was on my front line who's no longer with EXP, but he was here for a while. Do you remember, Casey, a guy named Dave Robles?
Oh, yeah.
So Dave was one of the first ones of my friends that I brought over. And Dave was actually really the reason why I joined EXP, even though he wasn't my sponsor. My sponsor is Brent Conley. Dave reached out to me. He's like, hey, do you notice all these people keep joining EXP? I'm like, yeah. He's like, do you see Brent Conley went over? I'm like, yeah. He's like, do you know why? And I'm like, I don't know, but I'm going to find out. And so I went down the rabbit hole and researched. And then I asked my buddy who's trying to recruit me for, give me the reason why. In about 7 minutes, I'm like, okay, I'm in. And then I went out and sponsored Dave. So thanks, Dave, wherever you are.
And so what was it that you saw?
It's really funny because I always say I'm not wired to make money. Like I'm wired to make an impact because truly when I stop and think about it, but the first word that popped into my head when you say, what did I see? I saw money. Like I did. I literally saw screenshots of people's revenue share. And I know that's not how we're supposed to recruit. And this call is being recorded. So I'm not going to use any real names for the sake of protecting the innocent. But I saw 3 people's revenue share checks, and no one gave me an income disclosure, although I'm going to give it right now, even though we're not talking about actual numbers. If you go to exprealty.com/income, exprealty.com/income, you'll see a disclosure. It talks about who makes money, who doesn't make money, how easy it is to make money, how hard it is, how many people make money, right? You got to work hard to make money in revenue share. But I will say, no one gave me that disclaimer, and I saw these screenshots, and I thought, man, I could join EXP, do nothing to get rich. So literally what I thought. No one told me that, but that is, come on, be honest. Any of you think that when you saw EXP the first time, you're like, oh my God, I'm going to do nothing and be rich. No one else thought that besides me. I'm the only honest one. Marguerite did. Okay. It's literally what I thought, Casey. I'm like, in 7 minutes, I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how these people are doing this, but if they're making $50K a month, $300,000 a month, I'm going to figure this out. I can figure this thing out.
Yeah. So it's day one.
Yep.
You come over. What's your business plan? What's your business strategy? What did you actually do to grow?
My business plan day one was to do whatever my mentors told me. I was one of the most coachable people you could meet, but only after my first month of being a knucklehead. Okay, I came over day one and I'm like, I'm going to figure this out on my own. I'm a bit of a lone wolf. Any of you who are lone wolves and want to do things on your own, you don't have to raise your hand because I know you won't even raise your hand, you lone wolves, but just know if you're blinking your eyes 3 times, if you're a lone wolf, blink your eyes, right? You're a lone wolf. You're going to do your own thing. So I spent about a month when I first came over and I sponsored a couple of people right off the bat because I was coachable enough to like not absolutely wing it on my own. They were like, hey, invite someone to watch this video, sit down and watch a video with them, make a list of people. That was it. Like that was my game plan. Make a list of people, have them watch the video. That was it. But and then they said like you should get training and do these other things. The other thing they told me to do was come to every EXP event that exists. And at the time it was Shareholder Summit, EXPCon, and then Brent Gove was doing a couple events a year that were like bigger Asian attraction events. And they said, come to events and bring a guest when you come to the event. That was my plan. That was it.
So what did year one look like by the end of year one?
End of year one, well, middle of year one, beginning of year one, I had like 20, 30 people in my revenue share group because I brought on a couple teams like right off the bat that were friends that were, interested and curious and looking, and I had enough influence from knowing people over the years that I brought on a couple teams. And then my own sales team, I had 21 agents. Many of you have heard the story. I will not tell the whole story because it's a tearjerker. It's sad. It's slow. Anyway, but the long story short, take a guess. Those of you on camera, hold up your hands. How many sales, if you know the answer, did my 21 agent sales team sell in January of 2019? Anyone know the answer? 0. So I joined in December of 2018.
Is that because it was still Christmas?
No, just the market took a weird blip, and I had done these things to kind of ruin the culture and structure of my team. Not worth going into those lessons, but I fixed it later. We ended up making money that year, but we started off that year 40,000 in the hole. Then it was 20,000 the next month, and so by March I'm 60,000 in the hole. So I recruited from like December 2018 till March. I had about 30 people, 35 people in my group, and then I didn't recruit anyone until September of that year because I had to get into sales. Like I had to go back to selling houses. Like I literally did not recruit a single person from March till September. The people I'd brought in a handful of people. So I was maybe at like 50 people, 60 people by the time September came around. And then I got really obsessed. I got really frustrated. Some of you, maybe I've never told this. Do you know what these things are behind my head here? Those of you who've been on a lot of calls with me. Tony, do you ever hear me explain what these things are? No? You can't even see what they are. They look really terrible. And I've meant to redo my background on Zoom for like 4 years. But it's a fun because now I get to tell the story. So how many of you have ever heard Gene Frederick do a 3 napkins presentation, either live or on a video? Okay, you guys know what I'm talking about, 3 napkins? It's his like famous way to break down XP. So it's September of 2019, and I'm sitting in a small room with like 30, 40 people. And Gene Frederick walks up to the front of the room. He's the guest. And you might have even been in this room, Casey. It was at some smaller event in Vegas. I want to say it was at the Red Rocks Hotel, maybe Scottsdale. We're in the small room. And Gene gets up and he does this 3 napkins. And as he's doing it, I'd already been at EXP for 9 months, but I had ignored Agent Attraction. And when it clicked for me when I was watching him do this, I literally got chills. I still get chills thinking about it. Like the feeling I had. And I got so excited and so depressed at the same time. And I'm like, I've wasted 9 months at this company doing nothing. Literally wasted. Has any of you felt like that, right? You joined and you maybe didn't do enough or what you hoped or what you want. And like, so I had a relaunch and I was a little tearful and I broke down and I went up to Gene after and I thanked him. And so these things on my wall are the actual Gene Frederick whiteboard. We had a little auction to auction them off and no one wanted to donate any money. So I donated $500 to charity and I got them and framed them. And like, that's my moment where that was my relaunch. So I went from September till the end of the year. I was like all in on Agent Attraction. I was still running my 21 agent team. I still all day long, just like all of you, sold houses. I didn't create this magical space. I just started sleeping a little less. And my son at the time, he's 11 now, so he must have been about 3. He was having some sleep issues, and we had a sleep coach. And so they told me to start sleeping in his room. I was like, okay, whatever. I'm desperate, whatever you want. So I started sleeping in his room. And as a 3-year-old, he'd go to bed before me, which would give me a couple hours in the dark to sit there and text people and watch EXP videos and start recruiting and DMing. And then early in the morning, I'd wake up before him and I'd be laying in his room in the dark. And that was my recruitment time. Early in the morning, late at night. Early in the morning, late at night. Does that resonate with any of you guys who are still selling houses, right? Like, that's it.
Well, I think the context of relaunch is a really important part because so in the context of relationships, and there's a couple of you that are on the call that were at the retreat over the weekend. I referenced a conversation about that I was having with a coach recently about sharing about his friend that had was on his 8th marriage, and he's like, "You're on your 8th marriage, like, but you've been with this one 26 years. Where did all of the other ones happen?" And he was talking about having 8 different marriages with the same human.
Ah,
And so I think about that as it relates to our business, right? Because in what you just described, everybody has the story of what it takes to get them here. Then what happens when they first come. Everyone's going to have a different period of time before something happens where things shift or change. And then there is a necessity, like relaunch is birthed by necessity in some way, shape, or form. And then there's another period of time until the next thing happens where something's going to change. And then I don't know if it's a relaunch or it's just launching the next version. And I, for me, I think this is a really important piece for everyone to know that everyone's going to go through that. How long your periods are before relaunches happen are going to be different for everyone. However, in the principle of things are growing or decaying, in order to keep growing, we only grow to the point we grow to until there is no more growth. And then it's that next launch. So instead of that being like, oh, I did something wrong and it's have regret about it, it's no, that was part of that period that took you to that point, and then you launched to the next. Because I'm guessing that wasn't your last relaunch, Jesse.
no, absolutely not. And I wasn't regretting it. I was just sad because I knew why I joined EXP. When I say I joined for money, it wasn't to get rich. It was leveraged income, right? I had a newborn baby and a 3-year-old, and I was looking for anything that would allow me to be more present with my kids as they grew up. And running a team was not going to be that path, right? And having some of the freedom I'd felt in Thailand. And so I ended that year. I'm looking over on my wall over here. I can turn my camera if I need to, but I've got a giant wealth chart. Like it's, I don't know, 4 feet by 2 feet. The old style Rob Flick wealth chart. I got a giant one on my wall that haven't updated in years, but I leave it there because it's a cool, fun memento. year one, I ended at 111 people. Right. So I went from 60 to 111. And then somewhere through the next year, one of my frontline leaders who I knew was going to be a great leader, but also she didn't do anything for a year. I think half of you on this call that are part of my organization. Oh, actually, everybody on this call who's part of my organization. No, except for one of you. Everybody else from my organization are all part of Krista Mayshore's organization. And so she was a friend of mine from years past. She wasn't the giant coach she was when she came to XP. She was just building her coaching company. But she was here for a year before she recruited anybody. And so I ended 111. Year two, I went to 421 people. And I'll show you what happened here, Casey. I have some show and tell. So we make this every month. Oh, this is July 2025. Oh, that's funny. I thought this was 2026. Anyway, this is July of last year, but close enough. It'll show you. Kim's grown since then. They've all grown since then. So back a year ago, right? My group was 1594, and Krista was 833 people. So Krista's on my front line. She was half of my organization. Okay. So somewhere between year one and year two is when she started launching, right? But Kim Renshaw, right, who's right here, right? She's 238. She's a quarter of Krista's group. And then I have this other guy, Will Penny, who is on my front line. He had back then 198. This other guy, Shay Black, he's on my front line. He has 135, right? And then Linnea is part of Kim's group. Barry is part of Shay's group. Mike Brown was part of Krista's. Wendy. I could go through here and show you a couple of lessons that we took out of it. But the point being is, as you launch each of these phases, it starts with you got to build the core of your snowball to start it rolling down the hill. And then after that, it's less about relaunching myself, but more about learning the leadership skills to help the others in my group launch, or learning the leadership skills for me to get out of their way and let them do their own thing to launch. It's one or the other, right? Like I had great mentors and I learned a ton, but no one was holding me accountable or making me do things. I was very self-motivated. And most of you, the biggest leaders and best leaders in your group, are probably the same, pretty self-motivated.
And I think there's an important thing that runs through every single story of everyone that you just mentioned, and that is everyone has their own timing, and it's not day one necessarily.
Right.
So,
But I will say, so I credit Nolly Williams with this quote. I'm sure it comes from somewhere else. You ever heard the expression, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink? So Nolly's from Texas. You guys know Nolly with a big cowboy hat? Nolly always says it. I love this. It sticks in my mind. Nolly says, you can lead a horse to water and you can't make him drink, but you sure can pour salt in their mouth and make them thirsty. Okay? So that's where when you talk about everyone's got their own timeline, and you can wait for someone to when you can work really hard and bring them the XP, and then you can try to plug them into Agent Attraction. It's not the right time for them, and you can sit back and wait and hope that they figure it out on their own, or maybe they don't figure it out and they leave, or you do things that like Krista Mayshore. She was probably going to leave EXP. It was about a year, and one of my mentors sat her down and said, Krista, you are blowing it. And she's like, what? They're like, you haven't done a single thing with Agent Attraction. Like, you need to understand, and I hate the word need, I don't like to use it, but this person literally said, you need to understand Agent Attraction. Before you make any decisions of what you're going to do, you need to understand this. And she said, okay. So she watched some video, probably Gene Frederick's 3 Napkins, and she watched something else, and she spent an entire weekend consuming every EXP video imaginable, came out like the Matrix on the other side. It was like, I know revenue share. I was like, I want to do this. I'm ready. It was a year before she did anything. And so she could have left, and I would have had still a decent sized group, but I wouldn't have known half of you on this call if Krista didn't stick around and plug in and get excited about Agent Attraction.
all the ongoing investing in people. Okay, well, I'm excited to actually grab our topic, which is play dumb until it's time to be smart. Let's pivot to that.
Okay. So I'm writing a book, and I promised my wife I wouldn't try to finish it this year unless AI gets way better. It's probably going to be finished next year because I got a lot of projects on my plate. But I am writing a book that I have like told Casey, I've got like 3 or 4 books I've been trying to write for years, but this one I'm finally have a reason to finish, and I know enough to finish this version of it. And so this book is where this topic came from. It's called Play Dumb Until It's Time to Be Smart. And I'm going to tell you what that title means. And I want to see those of you who've done any sort of agent attraction or recruiting. I want to see if this resonates with you. Maybe at the beginning of your recruitment career, maybe how you do it now. I don't know. Do you ever feel like, you have a lot of knowledge in your head and you just want to share it with people? You just want to tell them. Will anyone acknowledge that feeling like that? They're like, I just want to tell people, like, I can help, I can solve their problem, or I can tell them, I can help with this. Okay, thank you. Then you're honest. Most of you do this and you don't acknowledge it. It took me years to learn this. Even if I know the answer, I'm still going to play dumb. And not in an inauthentic way, not in like I'm leading them on and waiting to pounce. Like genuinely, if you come with curiosity and you really want to ask questions and learn what makes someone else tick and focus on them, even if I know they're at a brokerage and I know exactly what their splits are, I know exactly what their cap is, and I know what their economics is of their team because I used to run a team and I can guess their profit margins, and I could show off and do that like mind reading trick where I'm like, oh, your team sold 76 houses last year. You probably have a 12% profit margin and you made X amount of dollars. Like, I'd rather ask the questions and play dumb and be like, man, I remember running a team. That was a lot of work. How's it going for you? How many deals did you do? Making any money? That's what I mean when I say play dumb. Does that make sense? And most of you don't play dumb enough. And if you don't like the word play dumb, fine. Natural curiosity, whatever you want to call it. But time to be smart, that's the concept that we can talk about too, Casey, of I don't know where this one came from. ARL, all roads lead. Do you ever use that term? That didn't come from you, right, Casey? I don't remember half this stuff comes from because I learned from a lot of people and I learned half this from Casey. ARL is all roads lead to EXP. So as you spend time playing dumb and getting curious about what makes someone tick, the more you do this, it becomes pretty obvious how to connect the dots from where they are to what we've got at EXP. And if you don't know how to do that yet, if you're newer to agent attraction on this call, because a few of you I don't recognize and you might be newer, the cool thing about recruitment here is that it's a team sport. And so as long as you just bring it, like Kim, I had a call with someone yesterday, and I'll tell you the details later because Kim's an amazing leader, but Kim tried to talk this person out of trying to recruit this person. Just so, right? And no shame, Kim. You were just like, don't try to recruit this person. That's not worth your time. And I get it. You weren't saying they were unrecruitable. You're saying like, it's gonna be a lot of work. Go work on something else. And this person is like a bulldog. And she was like, no, I'm gonna recruit this person. I'm like, cool. Sounds good to me. Right? It's like a big team. There's like 75 people on the team they're trying to recruit. And so I'm walking this person through it. And she's like, I got a call booked with them. I was like, fantastic. She's like, I'm going to ask them about this, and that's going to be my turn to tell them about this and this. I'm like, no. You have one shot here, and the only thing I want you to do is ask a bunch of questions. And I had her write down 15 different questions she could ask this person. I said, you won't use all 15. It's not an interrogation. But I helped her brainstorm a few, and then once she got a few questions, she said, I just roll them out. I'll ask about this, and I'll ask about that. And so she got off this call yesterday and was so excited. Because she's like, this team, they've got 75 agents. They'll do like 500 deals this year. They're like the biggest team in our town. And they don't really know much about EXP. And they don't own their brokerage. They're just there, but they're really kind of like an independent team. She told me all this stuff. And I'm like, cool. Do you know exactly how to tie those pain points and what their goals are into what we have at EXP? She's like, I have no idea. I'm like, fantastic. Well, I do. Because I've done this a million times. It's all the same thing. And so within like 5 minutes, we're like, okay, repeat me back, write down this, write down that, write down that. Now read those sentences out loud. I'm like, do you still get where the dots connect? She's like, nope. I'm like, okay, this is how that one connects. She's like, oh, this is how that one connects. Oh, and you can train. I can give you the exact specifics if you want to hear them, Casey, of what it was, but it doesn't matter. It's just, if you can do the work of getting the basic information and bring it to a leader like Casey or me or Kim or Clark. We have a bunch of leaders here. Anyone in your organization who knows how to connect the dots from where someone is to what we have at EXP, we'll help you do the heavy lifting. And I told her exactly how to set up the next appointment with, book a call with me, and we'll keep it going. Again, Kim, you're not wrong. It's gonna be a ton of work, but it's a fun experiment, right? Does that make sense, Casey?
Makes perfect sense. So this play dumb until it's time to be smart.
Yeah.
What is the smart part?
The smart part is when you start connecting with someone who knows more about EXP with you and how to connect those dots. That's,
All right.
I mean, truly later on, play them until it's time to be smart. You'll figure out how to do that on your own, right? Like if I did a 20-minute intake call with almost any agent or team leader or broker owner within probably 5 minutes, but let's be humble and say 10 to 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how much they talk and the details I get. I'm going to find 2 to 3 easy ways to tie it into resources and benefits that we have at EXP that could make their life better, and do it in a way that's not a heavy-handed sell. That's more of a pull than a push. And that's what I mean by you don't have to play dumb forever. Like at some point in time, you do want to Casey, you have a great definition of this. And I know most people on this call have heard you say it, but I rarely get to say it to Casey's face and give her the compliment. I always give her credit. She's not around to hear it. The definition of recruitment that you gave to us years ago that I've probably, we've tweaked and morphed it, but it's right. My favorite definition of recruitment that you gave was being a recruiter is someone who takes the time to care enough about another human being to understand what they need and want, and is the resource to help them get it. That's all I mean when I say be smart. Play dumb until it's time to be smart. That makes sense?
It does. So I have a question for you. At this stage of the game, with all the people that you personally recruited or that you've helped recruit through your organization,
Yep.
um, what is your process, or how do you identify pain and hunger?
Yeah. So we got a new process. So I'm gonna show you the newest one. I got 15 minutes, and some of you have seen this, so I don't want this to be a boring rehash of things but I do want the new folks to get the basic framework, because I spent years, and Casey, you can tell me if you spent the same thing. I have spent years here training others on agent attraction, not just like doing it myself, but training others on it. And I used to train these 7 steps of agent attraction. And I got them partially from Eric Worre, partially from you, partially from Brent Gove, kind of made them my own. But it'd always start off with, you make a list of people, you say hello to them, you connect with them, and then you want to find out their hopes, dreams, goals, and pain points. It's the exact question you just asked me, which is like, how do you find out those things? And I have a series of trainings, and I can tell you what to do. But what I've found over the years is it's not a duplicatable skill to the level I'd want it to be. If I took 10 agents at EXP that wanted to do agent attraction, 2 to 3 of them would learn how to find out what people's hopes, dreams, and pain points are at a pretty high level. Another 2 or 3 would do it at a medium level. The other half would never get it. I don't know why. Have you guys found this? People to me, it's so easy to go talk to any human being and get them to open up, and I could teach you basic strategies. But like most of you on this call, I guarantee you can do it. Raise your hand if you have that skill. Like you can go talk to another agent and find, okay, because that's why you're here, because you're growth mode and you want to learn, but you're already pretty good at this. But now think about the agents you've brought into EXP and in your organization. How transferable is that skill? Anybody? So. Casey, would you agree it's kind of a so transferable skill?
So my perspective is that everyone's got to do it enough to where it becomes their own and they get the confidence behind it so that they have their own level of personal posture,
Yep.
and that there is no, that's a different process for everyone, and it depends on how many conversations they're having and how often they're having those conversations and how often they're sticking to something that works versus going rogue and veering off onto, well, there's an infinite number of things that aren't so effective that sometimes we find ourselves doing. So, yeah.
And here's the challenge, because you're right. If they practice it enough, they will get it. But what I found is a dishearteningly low number of people would continue doing it until they got it, and a lot of people would give up or quit on themselves. Even I'd keep believing in them, but they'd quit or give up on themselves and go back to selling houses before they got it. That was the part I was trying to solve. So in this phase that we're in now, right, this is my relaunch. Marguerite said next chapter 6.0. I don't know what chapter I'm in now. All right, this is a new version. I mean,
How old are you, Jesse? This is how we determine it.
I'm 47.
Okay, you're going into 4.8 then.
4.8. All right, cool.
Yeah.
I like it. I love it.
I'm actually 6.2, but the 6.0 referenced somebody at the retreat.
There we go. So I just turned 47 like a few weeks ago. So I just started chapter 4.7. There you go.
Okay.
Started 4.7. So I really was looking at the last couple of years at EXP where growth had stalled, right? Any of you who have decent sized organizations, you might have noticed growth have stalled. And the main drivers of growth stalling, I believe, was twofold, right? And those of you who are new at EXP, this is still going to impact you too, because number one, the key to growing a big organization is not about you being an amazing recruiter. It's about doing duplicatable things that your group can do as well. And so right now, it is still harder to sell houses than it was in 18, 19, 20, 21. Because the market was better then. You had a pulse and a breath. You could sell houses. So right now, people got to spend more time prospecting to sell houses, and they need to make money. And until the revenue share income catches up, they can't spend as much time on it. So that's one thing that's slowing your growth. It just is. It's not. I mean, you can do things to try to change it, but that's a macro factor. The second factor we have is more competition. There are more cloud-based brokerages now than when we started EXP. And that's not going away. I'm not saying you can't win. I'm not saying there's not plenty of opportunity for all of them to grow. I'm just saying these are macroeconomic factors that I built. I spent 2 years bumping my head into the wall going, how the heck do we keep growing? I like growth. I want to keep growing. I don't like going backwards. I want to stay the same. That feels like going backwards. I want to grow. And so this is what I came up with. So I went back to revise this 7-step thing, and I came up with 4 steps. So I'm going to put this on the screen. I'm going to show you this. I think I got time for all of this. Hold on. Click here to download the playbook. Boom. Pop up this on the screen. All right. Playbook. All right. So I'm going to show you where to get this in a minute. If you don't have it, those of you in my crew, you've seen this before. I wrote this agent attraction playbook. And legitimately, if you just sat down and read this playbook, you'd get everything you need. I am doing an event in San Diego. I've given you the dates. I think, Casey, I'll give them out here if anyone wants to come, because I think spending time in person and seeing people who are actually using it and building the belief. I mean, the how is not that hard. It's getting yourself to do the stuff. So I put this system down now into 4 steps. Here's my 4-step framework, right? Step 1 is the conversation starter, right? You got to start conversations some way, somehow, right? And we're going to get permission. We're not just going to blast videos out to people who don't want to watch them. We're going to get permission, and we're going to have them watch this video, which is a 3.5-minute video. It's all it is, 3.5 minutes long. It's called the 5 phases of an agent's career, right? And our goal with this is diagnosis. We're looking for what's holding them back. From there, after they watch that video, we're going to give them another video, which is a blueprint. And from there, we're going to get them on what Casey calls a validation call. I'm calling, some people call it a 3-way call. I call it the partner intro, right? After they watch 1 or 2 of these videos, we get them onto a partner intro. So we leverage our business partners, and the 4th steps, the alignment, right? We give them choices. Do you want to explore this further, or do you already know it's a fit? And we're always going to set a next step. We're going to bam fam, book a meeting from a meeting. We're going to bam fam them. No matter what their answer is, keep the door open, right? And go from there. Does that make sense at a high level, Casey? Kind of the 4 steps?
It does.
Okay, so
It's the professional sifting and sorting.
Correct. So in the context of this system, the biggest difference is step 1, that conversation starter, leveraging a video to identify what their pain points are, what their hopes and dreams and goals by having them watch a 3.5-minute video. It's like those of you, anyone ever used to read Cosmo magazine? Don't raise your hand if you're embarrassed by that. But anyone ever read Cosmo magazine, or at least see it in the newsstand back when we went to grocery stores and there were newsstands at the checkout? Anyone see Cosmo? Right? And they always had in there a little quiz, figure out what your animal is, figure out what your compatibility type, who's your perfect partner. Like, they had these really compelling quizzes. Why were they so compelling? Because psychologically, human beings, they want to be diagnosed. They want to be put into a box. They want to be like, I want to know what category I'm in. And they would sit there at the checkout line. They'd flip through the Cosmo, and they'd oftentimes buy it, right? Even though they're like, why am I buying this silly magazine? But they would take the little quiz. Anyone remember what I'm talking about? So I made a video version of this little quiz. I don't call it the Cosmo quiz. We call it the 5 phases of an agent's career. And in that playbook, we have cut and paste messages you could literally use for any agent you've ever met or want to meet, within very short order, without having much of a relationship. If you got a long relationship, even better. But we can have them watch this video. You don't have to watch it with them because it's only 3.5 minutes long, right? It's a very low ask. And when they watch this video, then they're going to self-diagnose. The ones, and they're not all going to tell you. Some of them won't care. This is sifting and sorting. But they're going to self-diagnose and tell you where they're at in their career and what their pain points are just from watching a 3.5-minute video. Does that make sense? So we have 9 minutes. I could either play the video, or you could just take my word for it. You tell me what's helpful, or I can move on. What's helpful, Casey?
Let's have our audience say what they would like.
Half of you have seen the video many times, but those of you who don't know it, do you want to see the video now? You want me to give it to you later? What's helpful for you in the context of this? All right, Michelle says she'd love to see it. All right, Luke. All right, it's 3.5 minutes long. I'm going to play this video. So let me show you what the text looked like. That would go, and again, if you want any of this, I'll give you the link to how to get in a minute. I'm not selling it. It's free. And I really was wrestling with, do I give out this whole thing today, Casey? And I decided, yes, I want more people using this because we have enough people using it and it's working really well. But I want more success stories. I want to be able to parade more people. Like this to me is the new version of the model explained. Instead of being like, hey, watch the model explained, because everyone's seen the EXP video. So let's go down here. Conversation starter. Here we go. So you have multiple options of text. But let's use the warm approach right here, because this is the one that most of you are going to use with people that you know well, right? Hey, so-and-so, I just saw a 3.5-minute video that broke down the 5 phases of an agent's career. It was actually pretty spot on and made me think of you. If I sent it over, would you be open to watching it and telling me which phase you're in? Would you guys imagine that if you sent that exact text to people you knew, a lot of them would be like, sure. You guys agree? A lot of people would be like, yeah, I'll check it out. Right? Easy. And they won't all watch it. We don't need them all to watch it. And here's the video that we've been using, and it's working really well. Make this full screen. Here's 3.5 minutes. I don't hear the audio. Do you guys hear that? Oh, because it's muted. Haha. I've used Zoom before, I promise. Let's get real for a second. Every single real estate agent is stuck in one of 5 distinct career phases. Do you know which one you're in? If you're feeling broke, burnt out, or just bored, it's because you don't know which phase you're in or how to escape it. Today, we're not just going to figure out exactly where you are right now. We're going to talk about the paradigm shifts required to break through the next level. Stick around, because if you make it to phase 5, you stop trading time for money entirely. All right, let's dive in. Phase 1, generating cash. This phase is all about survival. If you aren't making at least $100,000 per year yet, you're probably right here. You wake up every day asking, where's my next deal coming from? The fix to graduate from phase 1 could just work harder, but there's only so many hours in the week. You might need a strategy shift. What you definitely need is an environment that actively feeds your pipeline and provides step-by-step mentorship. And if you can find an environment that also helps you keep more of your own commission in your pocket instead of paying a massive split, then you can reinvest that money into your business and get out of phase 1 more quickly. Phase 2, buying back your time. So you crack the code. You're making $200,000, $300,000, maybe $500,000 a year, but there's a catch. You have absolutely no life. You're working evenings and weekends. You're missing family dinners. In phase 2, money isn't the problem, time is. The fix? You need leverage. When you have the right processes and systems, you can sell the exact same number of houses while working 15 to 20 hours less a week. Finding the right training and guidance on these systems, that's critical. Most agents in this phase, they need to plug into a modern cloud-based environment where your CRM handles your conversions and you have instant live support without ever having to drive into a physical office. That's how you sell more houses in less time. Phase 3, true freedom. You have cash and you have your time back. Now we enter phase 3, true freedom. This is the point where you don't have to work anymore. You sell houses because you want to. The fix? Most agents never reach this phase because they're only as good as their last commission check. Some agents bounce back and forth between phase 1 and phase 2 for their entire career. To reach true freedom, you have to find a model where you can earn leveraged income, not just trading your time for money. If your goal is freedom, you need a model where you're earning actual equity in the company you're helping build just by doing your normal daily business. What you need is to build a wealth safety net. That's how you reach true freedom. Phase 4, building your legacy. Once your own freedom is secured, your mindset shifts. You get bored just making money for yourself. You want to make an impact and build a legacy. The fix? You don't have to quit selling houses, but you need a vehicle that rewards you for helping others. Imagine building a massive residual income stream just as a natural byproduct of doing real estate and helping the agents you bump into. When your active business overflows into a leveraged residual income bucket, your entire life changes. Phase 5, helping others build their legacy. This is the peak of the mountain. You've built your legacy, your family's set for generations, and now your only goal is external. Imagine being able to say, my goal is to help 100 other people get exactly what I have. When you help someone behind you on the curve reach financial freedom, your name lives on long past your real estate career. So be honest with yourself. Which phase are you currently stuck in? Are you chasing cash? Begging for time? Seeking freedom? Or ready to build legacy? The agent who shared this video with you, they sent it because they understand how to break through these phases and they want to see you win too. Text them right now. Tell them which phase you're in. Ask them exactly how they found their leverage. There you go.
Love it.
So how many times did we mention EXP in that video? 0. Okay. Pretty easy ask to get that. And by the way, you're not going to get 100% of people watching it. We get, on average, 20% for if you don't know people very well. If you're sending it to people you do know pretty well, 50 to 60% response rate of people watching it. And I just dropped the link in the chat. I know we got 3 minutes. Theagentcollective.com/playbook theagentcollective.com/playbook. I'll show you what's there. For those of you who are part of my crew, hopefully you know it exists. If you don't know it's there, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to bang my head into a wall. But it's got a 5-minute video on how to use the playbook, literally 5 minutes long. Okay. Watch this 5-minute video. And then you've got a link to watch the second part of the training, which is another 5 minutes. So total of 10 minutes of training. You can download the playbook here. You got a link to the 5 phases video I just showed you right there. You got a link to the second step, the blueprint video there. If you love this, I'm doing an in-person event. Casey, you don't have anything that conflicts with September 15th, right?
Uh,
I think
uh,
we talked about this date, so making sure I'm not competing with a retreat or something you're doing. But
no retreat in September. No,
I think
retreat's
you might be in
November.
Europe or something. But anyway, so September 15th in San Diego, if you want to come in person. I'm not doing this to make money. I truly am doing this for my own organization. However, I opened it up to anyone at EXP. We got room for 200 people. Tickets are like, what are we charging? Like $149, right? So it's not doing this to make much money. I just want to spend a day together going over this playbook and how to use it, hearing stories of people that are using it. Like this guy, Armand, Casey, I told you about Armand. He spent a year doing agent attraction. He's a team leader, very successful in real estate. Spent a year doing agent attraction with some other guy he paid as a coach who's not part of our crew. He spent a year and recruited one person, maybe two people. And like he spent a lot of time on it. Since he switched over to doing this thing with the blueprint, we launched it in like May. He's already has a team of 5 that's joining. He brought on a high level team leader. He's got 2 more people. He's got a huge pipeline, like literally in like a couple months. And all he's doing is spending an hour or two, like literally a week, not even a day, an hour or two a week, just copying and pasting the text to invite people to watch that video, following the rest of the cut and paste stuff in the playbook. It's pretty wild.
I love it. Well, Jesse, as always, you are a wealth of value, and I love your passion and enthusiasm and creativity and your dedication to helping other people succeed. So, thank you for being who you are. I am going to say we'll look forward to having you back on one of these calls. The recording will be on Empire Builders Pro under the Builders Call YouTube playlist and
Yeah,
ready for more.
yeah, and if you want to drop the link, I mean, again, I'm promoting this mainly to my own organization, but if we got space, I'm sure we're gonna have space for some others. So if anyone wants to come, it's theagentcollective.com/AA mastery. That's the link to the event if you want to come to the thing in San Diego.
Perfect. I just grabbed it.
Yeah,
Just saw that. Thank you for sharing.
yeah, this is great, Casey. Thank you for hosting this every 2 weeks. This is awesome.
Love it. Make it a great day, everyone.
Bye, everybody.